Welcome to another episode of the Pierce Brothers. I'm Jake. Today we're going to be talking about 1911s and kind of my history with the 1911, and also giving you a first look at a new 1911 from Alchemy. So let's get started. I got my first 1911 when I was 14 years old. It was a high standard 1911 chambered in 45 ACP, just kind of a standard government model. Standard sights, grip safety, all that type of stuff, just kind of a GI model. It was made by Rock Island, and that gun was it was a decent gun, especially for a 14-year-old. I didn't have any complaints. It was fairly accurate, and never had any reliability issues with it. But I always kind of wanted something better, and most custom 1911 makers I don't really like their stuff all that much. Most of the high-end stuff from like Les Baer or Ed Brown, they weren't really making a 1911 that looked traditional, like a pre-World War II 1911. And that's kind of what I was after, and nobody was really making one. But yeah, so that was my first, and I ended up buying, I used to have actually a pretty big, extensive collection of pre-war 1911s, ranging from Colts made in 1912 through World War II models, everything made from Ithaca, Colt commercial models, some rare contract guns from from World War I, made for Canada. Let's see, I had 3 or 4 original Springfield Armory 1911s. Not the current Springfield Armory, but the ones made from 1914 to 1917. And those are really cool, very unique. But those aren't really what I would consider shooters. You can definitely go out and shoot them, and I did, but their sights were always never the greatest. Of course, the beaver tails and the hammer combination would shoot me up pretty good on my hand here. Triggers were generally pretty heavy. Accuracy could be, range anywhere from pretty decent to just okay, And then reliability. Most of them, of course, I would do tune-ups on most of those guns and make sure they were working. But if you're trying to shoot anything other than Full Metal Jacket, some of them would work just fine with, other flat-nosed bullets and stuff. Some of them would just wouldn't run unless you were shooting round-nosed ammo. So, but yeah, not really what I would consider shooter guns. Certainly cool, historic collector pieces. But I always kind of wanted something that was modern, that was using modern steels and modern manufacturing techniques that also looked classic. Classic pre-war gun with the classic roll marks and all that type of stuff. And so that's kind of what I was always after. I wanted just something that looked classic, and I could shoot the hell out of it and not worry about breaking apart, cracking a slide, losing a front sight, which I have actually done with some of the pre-war stuff. I've lost a couple of front sights from shooting those guns too much. Right around 2011, some companies were making classic looking guns, and one of those was Cylinder and Slide. I could never afford one of these back in 2011. I was poor, high school student, and of course the economy was not that great in 2011 either. It was improving, but it wasn't that great. But Cylinder and Slide took the time and effort to make, in my mind, this is one of the probably the best 1911 I've ever owned. It's they called this their first 500 gun, and what they were trying to do is duplicate the first 500 Colt 1911s made. If you know anything about 1911 history, those first 500 Colts were absolutely beautifully made. The polish work was just second to none in the finish, and they did a really good job. I'll have a more in-depth video on this gun in the future, but they did a really good job, and yet it's using modern steels, and I don't feel bad shooting this gun at all. So yeah, that's an absolutely beautiful gun. But yeah, like I said, back in 2011, I couldn't have afforded one of those. and just kind of to back up there for a second, not only was I buying 1911s, but I also I've done all types of custom work and on 1911s. I've self-taught, but I've done a lot of stuff to 1911s. Everything from trigger jobs to cutting slides for dovetailed sights, fitting safeties, grip safeties, thumb safeties, recontouring feed ramps to feed modern ammunition, hollow points and flat nose bullets, reliability enhancements, tuning extractors, ejectors, all types of stuff. I've done it. At least probably 100 1911s now is how many I've worked on. And just to be clear, I did not do this to any of my pre-war collectible stuff. Those are collector's items, and I didn't. I would certainly tune some of them up, just spring changes, adjusting extractors and stuff to get them functioning 100%. But I wouldn't just go change a collector's piece. Back to 2011. So there's some companies like Cylinder and Slide that made this gun here, and in 2014 or 2015, Remington partnered with Doug Turnbull and made a Remington UMC commemorative, which is actually this gun here. And this is actually I consider it my beater gun. I've got, I would say, probably at least 8,000 rounds to this gun. I'm on my 4th spring change, if that tells you anything. But I've done quite a bit of custom work to this gun myself. So most people would buy one of these and just keep them in the box. These came in a nice display box with a holster, some, two-tone magazines, lanyard, magazine pouch, all that type of stuff. But no, it was going to be my beater gun is what I call it. And I pack this thing everywhere. Of course, I put different sights on it. I put a gold bead front and a Harrison retro rear sight with a square notch. I tuned up the action on it, where it actually has just over a 3-pound trigger pull. Really, really good trigger pull on it. It's proven to be very accurate, and through the course of that, at least 8,000 rounds. A lot of that's been my heavy loads. So right now I've got it set up for heavy loads right now. And my heavy loads are running about 950 feet a second with a 230 grain bullet. So not something I would recommend you just go and shoot a lot of through a stock 1911 unless you want to do some, put in a stiffer mainspring and recoil spring, and maybe even a buffer. If you're going to shoot a lot of it, a buffer would certainly prolong the life of your gun. So yeah, that's what I've done to this gun. But yeah, through the course of that 8,000 rounds or plus, 8,000 plus, I've had to replace quite a few parts. I've worn out the slide stop. The ejector got battered loose, so I fit and tuned up a new ejector. I broke an extractor on it, replaced and tuned an extractor. Of course, fit a different mainspring housing to give me a little check ring in the back. What else? Yeah, quite a few different things I've done to this gun, but it's a shooter, and it's very, very reliable with my tune-ups to it. Yeah, it's proven to be a good gun. So, but yeah, going back, that's kind of what I was after, since I was 14 years old and looking to get my first 1911. I wanted something that was built with modern steels, had good sights that you can actually see, and the classic roll marks. And this has the classic roll marks and markings, and yet I can go shoot the stuffings out of this and not worry about breaking an original piece. But currently there's actually a new manufacturer, or newer, Alchemy 1911, Alchemy Custom Weaponry, I should say. They've been making some 1911s for a few years now, and they do a really good job. So recently, they just released this model here, and this is what they call their classic government model. So this is, I would almost consider this one the perfect 1911s. This actually might replace my Remington here as my my new beater gun. But this is kind of a special edition that they're doing. I think they're only making 25 pieces. They're going to be shipped to their top 25 distributors, so one each to those companies. I actually spent my own money to get this one. I bought it from Griffin and Howe, and they're shipping right now. So if you want one, I would definitely go look at Alchemy's website because they list those manufacturers that will be getting these. And yeah, it's a nice gun. So I'll kind of go over the features here. It does ship with this case here. Ships with 2 of these Medgar. I'm pretty sure they're Medgar mags. I'm almost positive, but they're 8-rounders. Medgar mags, I've had pretty mixed experience with them in 1911s. And that's just within the 1911 platform. I've used hundreds of Medgar mags and CZ75s, Berettas, high powers, many other guns, and never had an issue with Medgar mags and anything else. But when you're making magazines for 1911s, there's hundreds. I mean, yeah, they've been made for over 100 years, lots of different manufacturers, and it's hard to make a magazine, I guess, that works in all different platforms. But yeah, if I'm wrong, and Alchemy, if you see this video, I'm wrong on that, certainly correct me on the magazines, but I'm pretty sure those are Medgars. Just for reference, this is a Medgar here, 7-rounder, and after just a couple hundred rounds, the feed lips on this spread, where they won't even fit into my 1911 here, unless I really kind of push. So yeah, that was just after a couple hundred rounds with that 7-rounder, and it's kind of toast. So we'll see how these 8-rounders hold up. So enough on the magazines. So they ship in this case here. Of course, it has different pouches here, so you can kind of a range bag type thing. One of them has your lock and stuff. Probably just throw that away. Once I ship it with all the paperwork, manual, they do ship these with a little dog tag thing. Certainly a unique touch. It has like the serial number, and it has limit 1 of 25 on there, so that's kind of a unique touch. I don't know any other company that's really including dog tags with their stuff. But yeah, certainly a nice bag. The gun itself is really nice. This is actually the first Alchemy 1911 I've owned, and I've actually never really handled all that many of them either. There's not very many dealers here in our part of Idaho that carry these, and yeah, this is what I wish more companies would make, is something that's classically styled like this and yet has all the modern features. So we'll just kind of go down the features. Again, it has a gold bead front sight. It has a Harrison Retro rear sight, just like I put on there. I've used a couple of those on other guns as well. They're really good sights. So if you're looking for something that's classic looking, I would certainly suggest looking at Harrison Retro. It's also got a Harrison Retro hammer and thumb safety, and it gives it kind of a good classic look, and yet the hammer is nice because you can actually use that modern beaver tail, which is an improvement. It did actually ship with these grips on it. They're like American Hollywood grips, and I took these grips off of this gun. These are actually made by Cylinder and Slide. I really like these grips. They're really very, very well made. Really aggressive checkering. Yeah, I would definitely suggest Cylinder Slide wood grips if you're looking for a pair. I need to buy another pair to put on that gun. So it does have, of course, a nicely fitted beaver tail, flat mainspring housing that has vertical serrations, which is a big plus. It has the original frame style. So Colt in 1924 changed the frame style with little scallops here. The original frames have a very unique look, and I love that look. So good job on that. It does have front strap checkering and a undercut in the trigger guard here, so you can allows you to get just a little bit more higher up on the gun, which is again a good plus. Lowered ejection port, which I like that feature as well. It doesn't, if you're a reloader, doesn't bang your brass up as much, gives the ejection pattern a good consistent out the side. Some of these other guns with the higher ejection ports, depending on how your gun's tuned, they kind of go more of an upward position. Every now and then you can even get one down your shirt. So depending on the gun. Let's see, has a match barrel and match bushing. Again, I like that feature. That's they guarantee these actually with to shoot 1.5 inches at 25 yards, which very accurate gun. Which ammo they guarantee that with, I'm not sure. I'm sure it's a match load. Again, there's so many different variations in ammunition. Don't expect 1.5 inches if you're using crappy ammo. So let's see. Trigger pull. I did measure this one. They say spec is 3.5 to 4 pounds. This one's measuring just under 4, which is, it's got a good trigger. So yeah, certainly a good trigger. Magazine well is of course nicely beveled, so it makes getting a magazine in the gun real easy. Yeah, very, very easy. Not even looking at the gun really, you know. So that's a good plus. That's something I have not done to this gun yet, is bevel the mag well. So I may end up doing that at some point. Let's see. They do have a lanyard ring on the mainspring housing, which again, I do like that feature. Just kind of completes the look, you know. I don't know if I'll ever use a lanyard, but it just there for the look. Roll marks. They kind of copied a 1919, they say 1919 production Colt. So they kind of just copied those roll marks, of course, using their address and symbol instead of the Colt symbol. And then over here, of course, they have ACW automatic caliber 45, just like a commercial 1911 would have been marked, except instead of ACW, it would have said Colt automatic. But yeah, certainly a nice gun. And of course, they got this is what they call the ball cut. It gives it kind of just a different look, and I actually really like that. It looks cool. This one, of course, has the original style, just a different look, you know. That's all. And certainly a good gun. So I've taken this apart, and I mean, it's a very well fit together gun. The barrel has zero movement. If you're pushing down on it like that, slide just has the slightest amount of play, which some people like their guns like extremely tightly fit. This one is it's certainly well fit. It's just I like a little bit of play for reliability's sake, especially for this is going to be a carry gun, you know, something I'll rely on. And again, certainly an accurate enough pistol. I don't need the you know, 2-inch groups at 50 yards type accuracy. This is good enough for me. So finish is kind of this grayish, worn look finish. I like that. I think it looks really good. So they spend Alchemy spends about 20 hours to build one of these pistols, or build one of their pistols. That's before finish, and of course, I'm sure that varies, you know, pistol to pistol and which model and which features and whatnot. But so they do spend a good amount of time building these pistols. Just for reference, though, the cylinder and slide, they spent 22 hours just on the polish work on that, and I mean, you can definitely tell just on the polish work that is absolutely a gorgeous gun. But again, I'm not really making a comparison. This is meant to be a commemorative of the first Colts made. This is meant to be again, you can take out and carry and use and not worry about, you know. So different purposes, I guess, between those two. The one negative, the only flaw I've been able to find with this gun, and you'll see this in the shooting footage. I'm shooting 7-round mags like these. I think I was actually shooting some Springfield and 7-round Colt mags in the shooting footage for the video, and you'll notice I put one magazine in, but I take it out and kind of look at it, because inserting those 7-round mags, I felt something hanging up, and then when I got it home later that night, looking at it, inserting the magazine, loaded mag, there was a little bit of a burr in the mag well that was catching the rim of the case right back here at the back, and that burr was just actually digging into the case here. If you pushed it kind of slow, it would just stop it and it would be pushing the ammo down in the mag like that. If you pushed it fast, it would just take a little bit of a chunk out of that back of the case. I just took a file and got rid of that burr. It would not do that with Wilson Combat or any of these modern 8-round magazines. They just have that case at such a slightly different angle that it wasn't catching with these mags, but with the Colts and the Springfield Armories it was, and of course I remedied that issue. Okay guys, so we're out here with the Alchemy Classic Government Model 1911. Again, this is a special edition, it's only 25 made. Gonna shoot a couple mags to it. These will be the first shots fired. That was just finishing off a box of ammo I had, so only had 3 in that mag. Seems to be shooting right to the sights, which is good. I hate a gun that shoots, you know, left or right or a little high or low, so.
You want the white forward or the orange? Either.
Okay, so first shots with it. Yeah, like I said, shooting right to the sights. Not shooting very far, maybe only 20 yards right there. Keep watching, we'll definitely have more videos on this. We'll take it out to longer ranges too, you know, 100, 200 yards, and just see how it does at that range. I haven't shot it a whole lot at the moment. This is just more kind of like a first look video. Of course, just showing kind of the 1911 style I like. Of course, with my Remington and my sonar and slide. I'm really glad Alchemy is coming out with stuff like this, because in my mind's eye, it's been kind of a hole in the market for a while, and I certainly like the classic looks, the roll marks. I mean, it looks like something that somebody like Elmer Keith or something would have taken a commercial Colt 100 years ago and done a little bit of custom work to make it more practical, you know. And I think they did a good job. So good job, Alchemy, on that. I will continue to shoot this and report back. We'll do a full-length video just on this in the future. You know, we'll do maybe a 500 round and a 1,000 round review and just and talk about it more. So you'll certainly be seeing more of this on the channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Be sure to comment. Let me know what you guys carry for 1911s and what you like. So thanks for watching this episode. We'll see you guys next time.